So we're going to use this car as another tutorial, if you will. Back in the end of 2021, I believe, we did a tutorial with a 1990 GT, two-owner car, 31,000 original miles on the clock, I believe it was. Car was pristine. It was completely OEM stock original. Had every original part still on the car. Never had been taken apart. Nothing, you know, from top to bottom. We went through the whole thing. It was like as it was when it left the dealer. This car, with the exception of all the replacement parts, it's still a pretty rarefied Survivor. It's still intact. It's still never been taken apart. It's still kind of as it was, with, you know, as it left the factory. A lot of things still in place, and they can serve as a pretty good, you know, not as good as that 90, but it's going to be another good example tutorial of what to look for when you're out searching for these OEM stock original Fox bodies, which are, you know, needle in a haystack now. They're, you know, all this low-hanging fruit's been picked, and you really got to put in a lot of effort to try and find something like this, you know, and it's a little bit of luck involved as well, obviously, but at the end of the day, these things are still out there. You know, this one was up in upstate New York, out west, and out in the farm fields, you know, parked for a long time, and you know, we brought it back to life, as you can see. You can do the same, but you got to look for certain things. You know, there's a basket of goodies. You want to make sure you're out there, you're looking for these, you know, you're reading on the internet, you talk to people on the phone. Yeah, it's all our stock, never been taken apart. Sure, but once you go to look at it, or even if you don't, you can get a few key photos. You can gauge pretty well whether the car is, you know, OEM stock original for the most part or not, and you know, and take it from there. So let's take another opportunity here. We got this car. Let's take a walk around it first, look at a few things, and we'll get into the engine compartment, take a look at a couple other spots. I can show you a few things, and hopefully you can make your search a lot easier. Took a long time. You know, I've been doing this for more than 20 years, but you know, you learn as you go, and you know, this is the name of the game. Fox Body Crazy. Everybody wants an OEM stock original Mustang. Here's one. Let's take a look. So let's take a quick walk around the car. As I had mentioned earlier, it's wearing its original black paint fairly well. I believe there are a few spots that have been touched up. I can't be 100% certain on the roof, but I think the hood and this fender here on the driver's side were definitely resprayed at some point. The front driver's side fender has some fading. I believe it was the way it was parked for the years it was stored, the way the sun hit this side of the car. If you take a quick look, a quick walk down the side, you can maybe make out some of the chips that I had mentioned before. They've all been touched with the appropriate touch-up paint. There is a ding here in the rear quarter panel, driver's side, underneath the quarter window. It depends on what angle you're at. I think I can see it right now. The rear paint is in really good shape. There's no major scratches or anything from people dragging suitcases or anything in. There's a few scratches on the lower part of the rear bumper here, but the plastic's all good. It's not mangulated, it's not scored or cracked. These louvers, I may or may not have pointed out, owner says that previous owner says that they were put on the car right from new. Within the first 2 or 3 years it was alive. So these are period correct. They're from late 80s, early 90s at you know, at latest. So I left them on the car just to leave it as I found it. I'm not a big fan. I don't like how they rattle when you shut the hatch. I never liked louvers. I don't like how they look when you're looking out from the inside. It always feels like somebody's right up on you. No, that's just the louvers. But anyway, we leave them on the car. This side has some chips as well here and there underneath the door handle. There's a couple on that rear quarter. There's one here on the fender. There, we touched them all pretty well. You can't really see them unless you're looking for them. As I mentioned earlier, we did put a new set of headlights in the car because the originals were pretty bad, pretty far gone in terms of being able to polish them back. One had, I think it was this one on the passenger side, had really bad seals. It was full of water, so we just opted for a replacement set and left it at that. There are some chips here on the hood which were all touched up. The quarter windows, I don't know if I touched on these already, but they are not as chewed up as I've seen before, but they are not perfect, obviously. And the door belt and door trim are in fairly good shape. Cowl as well. You got some, I believe this is from oil in your hands. A lot of over the years closing the door with your hands, closing the door, grabbing the A-pillar with the window down, or even not window down, just using this area to close the door. If you take a look over here on the passenger side, it's the same. You got that here. You also got somebody riding shotgun, I think, that always, window down, hand, wee-hoo, or it would be this hand up on the, on the A-pillar they were holding on. Wee-hoo. But other than that, there are no major glaring cosmetic flaws that jump out at you. So, as I say, it's nowhere near as perfect as that 90 GT we pointed out last year, but for what it's worth, for an 88, this is a 35-year-old car with original paint car, Survivor car. It I'll even do the 20-foot vantage point. I mean, it's pretty damn clean for a 35-year-old car with original paint, black car especially. I mean, black don't lie. It's the hardest color to fudge anything. So you're looking at it like I'm looking at it, and for a black car, it's pretty damn straight. Let's take a closer look here. Let's do a couple things. Let's do the door test. The car doesn't have subframe connectors, but I don't think it's been very abused. The doors close easily and nicely. This is always a good sign of whether or not your Fox body's twisted up, the unibody, especially if no subframe connectors are put in. Let's try the passenger door. Yeah, nice and easy, nice firm close. Well, let's take a look in the interior while we're at it. This is the stock LX interior, no sport seats. Really good shape. I mean, there's really no major flaws at all. There's one cigarette burn in the rear driver's side rear seat. I'll show you when we get over there, but let me open this. I mean, it's headliners excellent, super duper excellent. I did put a set of replacement mats in from LMR. I had no floor mats. We are going to be putting a new map light in that's on order. The internal mechanism disintegrated. There is power to it. We know it'll work. LMR carries a reproduction one. It's a little pricey, but easy to install, and you know what you're getting. Your sun visors are, got a little wear here on the inside of the, it's your, here, that's a little dried out, but stay up, girl. Ashtray door works like a charm. Let's go around the driver's side. I'll open the rear seat here so you can, there's the cigarette burn I had mentioned earlier. Other than that, interior super clean. Let's pop the hood. I'll point out a few things in there. So what we have here, ladies and gentlemen, is a fairly OEM stock original engine compartment. What you see first is you got your OEM stock original hood insulation pad. These were made in the aftermarket for quite some time, Ford licensed. They are no longer. I don't know why. It happened around COVID that whoever was making them stopped making them. Can't get them anymore. This one, it's the original. We cleaned it off, wiped it down. It's still intact, so we're leaving it in place. You take a close look here. Things we look for in a OEM stock original Survivor Fox body. Right off the bat, you got your distributor boot, you've got your coil cover with the correct decal. This wouldn't have an airbag decal because this is an 88. They didn't have the airbag until the 90 model. You look over on this side, you're going to see, I'll twist the camera around, should see that. Original spark plug wires, date stamped, 1988. You should always look for that on an all original car. If it hasn't, this one's got a little bit more mileage than you'd probably want on the original set of wires, but we're leaving them because they are original. This car does not have the original airbox in it. What it does have is a March airbox. March is a serpentine pulley company that got popular in the mid 90s, and they started making these Ram Air airboxes. This is you know, nostalgic in a way. I believe you can still buy them. Fairly certain you can, but you don't see these very often. So rather than put either a aftermarket, LMR makes now aftermarket air boxes, reproduction air boxes, or you go to eBay, you can find them all day long. But rather than do that, we just left the March kind of, with the exception of the catback exhaust that we put on the car. This is the only other modification. As you can see down here, there's your original smog pump. You want to make sure that that's in place and it's not gone, or there's a dummy pulley in there. You want to make sure that all of your vacuum lines and the actuator are in place for the smog system. Those are next to impossible to find. So OEM stock original, all that stuff should be there. This car, as I mentioned in one of my previous videos, we had to do the water pump, and while we were at it, we did the thermostat, and we did new hoses, and we did, you can see the hose down there, new lower hose. We did a new radiator and a new overflow bottle because that had a crack in it. So other than these and valve cover gaskets, we did do a set of valve cover gaskets on this, but other than those service parts and a battery obviously that someone put in it, the car is fairly intact. This one even has the right here, the plug, the rubber plug in the plenum, which is a rarity. They usually fell out after they got hot and fall out in the road somewhere. You look down there, you're going to see your stock headers. You're going to see the right here, you're going to see your hoists from the how they lowered the motor in on the assembly line. There's one there and one over on the passenger side here, in the back right here. So always look for things like that. I mean, these are all dead giveaways that this car hasn't really, no one's taken the heads off. If you're going to go through all that effort, you're not going to throw those brackets back on. So all in all, what you see here is what you should see when you're out on the hunt. Look for your decals here on the rad support here. You want to have all these decals in place. This car is AC, so it's going to have the AC sticker. And make sure that all your vacuum lines up here are all intact. You look here, the rivets are still in the shock towers. So this car has never had any cast or camber adjustments. There's the factory rivet. If I take you around back here, we're going to open up the hatch. I want to show you something else. So OEM stock original, what do you think one should find in an OEM stock original Mustang when we open up the back? Money? Drugs? Maybe? 88? No, we take this cover, we let it go. When you come back here and you lift up your carpet, the first thing you should see is the spare tire board with a jack instructions on it, which we do see right here. And then when you lift up the board, you should see, presto changeo, the spare. Now I can tell you that in all the Fox bodies that I've hunted down and dragged back home over the years, this is another rarity. This is probably only the third or fourth one that I ever had the original spare jack, and the jack handle is underneath the tire where it should be. It's bolted down, but it looks like it's never even been out of the car. So again, all the telltale signs of a car that's pretty well put together in terms of being unmolested and as close as it can be to stock original condition. There's no amps back here, there's no battery back here, there's no Well, if I can get this board back in, we'll be doing good. There's no, no one relocated the battery to the back. No one put a nitrous kit back here. There's not a bunch of parts back here. No dead bodies. So, good sign, folks. Be looking for all that stuff. Oh, gotta take the key out. Let's try that again. That's that louver rattle. Ugh. It feels like 1988 all over again. This is a 1988 LX. What year, boys and girls, did a Mustang LX 5.0 leave the factory with pony wheels on it? 1990, 1991. That's correct, 1991. So you wouldn't have seen pony wheels on an LX Mustang 5.0 until 1991. That was the first year that the 5-star pony wheels were introduced. Up until that time, you would have found these 10-hole wheels on any LX that left the factory in Dearborn, Michigan. Okay, so the pony wheels came out in 91. All LXs and GTs from 91 to 93, except the Cobra in 93, had these had the 5-star pony wheels on it. There were those, the summer specials and the special edition cars that had monochromatic wheels, yada yada, whatever. But your average, Mustang LX 5.0 1988 would have had these 10-hole wheels on it. Very important. Wheels make the car, as they say. So, if you're buying for an investment or you're buying for, to be 100% correct, make sure it's got 10 holes on it. So what do you say we do the obvious thing and take this thing for a quick spin around the parking lot here? Starts right up. Windows go up and down. Locks lock. AC. Blows cold and hard. Radio. Oh, we need some FM action in here. Yeah, there we go. Let's see if we get something to play. Got to be something on the radio. Yeah, hold on here. There we go. Dwight Yoakam. You stay with me. Well, that works. Automatic. I know some of you guys don't like that. I'm not a big fan, but Mustang's a Mustang. All original Survivor OEM-Stock original. It's that. Yep. Let's put her into D and go. A lot of women, back in the day, this was a woman-owned car. They opted for the automatic. A lot of folks are buying them now. They want an automatic, buying them for their daughters, wives, whatever. Not saying the chicks can't drive stick. It's just, one of them things. So let's take it for a quick ride here. Just drive around, get a feel for her. Everything works as it should so far. She picks up pretty good. Brakes really nice. No squeals. Nothing grinding. Missing or pinging or banging, or she drives straight. Suspension feels good. Body, hard brake right there. Nice. No massive body roll, dive in the front. No squealing, no squeaking from the brakes. Stop pretty good. Does look like it has a newer pair of rotors and pads on the front. Yeah, she's got a little get up and go to her. All in all, folks, you really can't go wrong with this car if you're looking for a Survivor Fox body. 70, what, I can't see it in the sun, 75,096 miles. So still got a lot of life left in her, and make a nice car for somebody. Tranny feels good. We did service all the fluids in this car. I'm in reverse right now. I'm not a freak. I don't drive backwards, but I'm just going through all the gears. I want to check the trans fluid again. We did go through all the fluids, trans fluid, rear diff, coolant, oil, everything's new in this car. Another thing I didn't mention, I don't think in any of the previous videos, we put a new set of shocks in the rear and a new set of quad shocks. They were all relatively smoked, so we opted. It had one original shock, one Monroe, had two replacement. Looked like one could have been a replacement quad shock. Couldn't really tell. They were just all leaky and dirty. So rear of this car's got brand new suspension in terms of the shocks, quad shocks, all new fluids, all new cooling system. Tires are good shape. They're not the greatest tires, but they have a lot of tread left on them. Brakes are new in the front. The rear didn't take the drums off, so I don't know, but the way the car is stopping like that feels good. I don't think there's anything wrong with the brakes at all. And the front suspension feels really good. Let's do a it's got two little, let's try that again. Takes off pretty good. Do a little takeoff test here, a little launch patrol, see if we can. Yeah, that's it, second decent. Everything's holding together, all the work we did, so that's always a plus. No leaks, no things falling off the car. All in all, we're really happy with this one and look forward to finding more of them like this. If you like what you see, press that like button, hit the subscribe button, and keep an eye out for more finds like this one. This car lived its whole life up in upstate New York, out in west Mechanicsville, out in the countryside. Two-owner car. The first owner had it for about 2 years. The folks I got it from bought it in 1990. So lived its majority of its life, 33 years with the same owner. They had it stored for quite a while. It had gotten in the way, so they decided to part with it. And that's how we connected, and you know, here we are, and we've brought it back to its previous glory as best we could, minus the small imperfections here and there, and you know, did what those folks opted not to do. And you know, the car speaks for itself. It's super clean and will make a great addition to somebody's collection.